What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of our Pro E36 drift car build, episode 2 in fact. And off camera I've been getting a bunch of stuff done, a bunch of the stuff that's kind of boring, maybe not boring, but just stuff that I didn't really think needed filmed that much. So a couple of updates. As you can see, the wheel wells are now coated in black rubberized coating. I freaking love doing this. It is the easiest thing to do and makes the biggest difference. And it just so happened that Woz had 3 cans of this stuff laying around. I'm pretty sure it's like 20 years old, Permatex rubberized undercoating, but you can still buy it in the shops. But this stuff, because Woz is so old, I think these cans were like really old and he just had them lying around. But it just gives you a great base to start off with, obviously, because everything in the wheel wells before was like, how old are these cars? 1992. 31 years, 30 odd years of gunk and all that crap. Basically I wire brushed the whole lot down on the inside and then just sprayed it, and this stuff's really resilient, so you can spray, it kind of soaks up a lot of crap as well, and it just comes up super nice. And then go ahead and P-clip your wires up out of the way and it just looks so neat and tidy, which is cool. So that is that done. I also went ahead and shaved a bunch of things from the engine bay, just cut off a whole lot of crap that sticks out that we don't actually need. I'm going to be custom making our own brake lines. We're also deleting the ABS, which actually doesn't even exist in this car for whatever reason. I think they removed it and put it in another car, but the lines, 2 lines are still here. I'm not going to bother putting the ABS module back in, but instead we'll do some tee-offs and stuff, which I'll show you guys, and delete the ABS altogether. I'm hoping to have an ABS delete kit available on Two Step Garage sometime soon as well, which will be cool. And then what else have we done? I welded in subframe reinforcements. I did that off camera. The plates, but you guys will be able to buy those on Two Step Garage soon as well, which is really cool. And just tidied up a bunch of these cuts and stuff as well and started rounding them off. So when we go ahead and paint it and stuff, it's actually going to look super neat and tidy and like cut off nice and evenly on both sides, so it just looks symmetrical from behind. It's the little things like that that make all of the difference. And now we're moving on to subframes. So I thought my old subframe from my last car was bent, but it's not. It's fine. We bolted it up to this car, it slid it up perfectly, no issues whatsoever. We did a couple of measurements and she's good to go, which means I do not have to pull these bushes out and put them in our spare subframe. So I'll just keep that as a spare. But basically, I know a bunch of you guys were keen to see that. You want to swap these out if you've got stock ones in your subframe and you're going to go drifting, because you'll get like axle tramp and stuff. It causes a lot of movement in the rear, which causes your alignment to change variably pretty much when you're drifting, because the rubber subframe bushes can't stand up to the abuse. So pretty much what I did was I burnt these out. I actually did a video on this like way back, but I burnt these out. So you just set them on fire until they pretty much slip out with, like, you just hit them with a hammer and they literally slip out. And then you put these new ones in the freezer and then you bolt them in. These bushes will be again available on Two Step Garage in the next probably 2 weeks, maybe a month. We'll be supplying all the E36 subframe bushes and stuff as well, which is cool. But these ones, you can see I've chopped the top off. I did that in the video I think as well, but basically that allows your subframe to raise up in the car. It gives you like 10 millimeters of subframe raise, so it lifts up higher. And that basically, if you're running like your car super low, your angle of your axles is going to be like that. And when you lift the subframe, it brings the axles back to straight, or it makes them a much better angle and makes them less likely to break, which is really cool. So that's just a wee mod you guys can do if you're looking to raise your subframe a little bit and get a bit of axle angle and strength back. I also welded these nuts on the back here, so these usually are not welded and they are like little tab things, but it's real annoying because when you undo the front bolts to get your arms out, they just fall down. It's a real pain in the ass to get them up, so I weld these on and that way you can just put the bolts in straight through. I don't know why BMW didn't do that from factory. We've got a new front subframe here as well. This gunky as hell, but it's not cracked like the last one. I can see that this area here is really susceptible to basically cracking, because that's what holds the engine mount. It's quite thin. So I think we're going to go ahead and put a reinforcement on top of that, gives it bigger surface area and makes it stronger, because you can see that's already lifted up, which is not cool, but it's gunky. So what we're going to do first, we're going to clean these off and then we're going to weld in some reinforcements into our subframe to make it a bit stronger. It's got a couple of cracks here and there, so there's a crack right here. I noticed one somewhere else earlier as well, so we'll clean it off, we'll have a suss and we'll do some welding. pressure washer fittings are like little sandblasters. That's so good. Jesus. Alright ladies and gentlemen, it's time to weld the subframe. So what we're going to do, I'm welding in some plates up here and here, just to reinforce this bit because that's the one bit that did crack. And then here, as you can see, we're welding in some washers. So in this part, usually the spring perch will be there, so that's right here. In this subframe you can see there's a spring perch, but we've removed that. And we run a different arm in there. We run the adjustable arm, but the adjustable arm in here, it doesn't quite like fit, it's kind of smaller, and so when I've bolted it up here, it's pulled, I don't know if you can see on camera, but it's pulled like the metal in, so I'm adding a washer here and welding it in just to reinforce this area so that we don't get any cracking happening there. It's just precautionary, but it's a good idea. And then throughout the subframe, I'm going to go ahead and just add some welds as well, where I think they need to be added just to add a little more strength. Other than that, yeah, we're pretty much going to be good to go after this. I'm being a bit cheeky and I'm welding with the bushes still in, but it's not a massive issue. I just have to take my time, and then I'll use a wet rag and just cool the welds down as we go around. And then I'll give it a lick of paint, and we're going to throw it in the car and be done with this subframe. Because we're fitting something to our brand new chassis for the first time, like permanently, so that's pretty rad. There we have it, team. An exciting moment as we have our first subframe in the car, and I've just chucked an arm in here just to make sure it's all good and that we do all the welding we did and everything lines up with the bolts and stuff. And as you can see, it fits quite nicely, which I'm pumped about. That means we get to move on to our next job. All right, so next job we have to do, by the way, I hope you like my shirt. It's because it's hot. We wear t-shirts, but we need a long sleeve shirt so that when we're grinding and stuff, the sparks don't basically smash our arms to pieces. So I get to look stylish for a little bit in this shirt. So we're back to the engine bay now, and we're finishing off the last of the fab that we need to do so that we can actually get the chassis painted. As you can see, I've cut out this wheel well with my new favorite toy, the reciprocating saw, whatever you call this thing. Boom. I love that, that's gone. The reason I do this personally is because it gives us easy access to wheel alignment stuff with the front LCAs, and I just think it looks really cool, race car spec as well, which is mad. But on this side, we have this cutout in the chassis because my turbo manifold, which is right here, was made by Damon at GMF Fab. Beautiful manifold, although I've definitely made good use of it over the years, so we will have to be either ceramic coating or painting that. But basically that manifold requires that this be cut out of my chassis because it was cut out of my last chassis when I gave it to Damon to make the manifold. So I'm doing it here. As you can see, we've cut out our piece. This bad boy right here, we cut the big chunk out of it, and then what I did was just lay this on sheet metal, like stood it up, traced around the top bit, laid it down, traced around the middle bit, stood it up that way, traced around the other bit, and then boom, we get this plate that I cut out, and then we've shaved all the paint off around so that we can go ahead and weld this in. So that's the next step we have to do, as well as just weld a couple of plates into our firewall of things that we aren't using. Like this was the air conditioning piece that the bulkhead fitting that we've cut out. So we'll chuck a plate over that, a couple of these holes, and really start to get this engine bay to a spec where we can rub it down, make it all clean, and then paint it a nice sparkly white, and then we can take it outside and clear it as well. So it feels like we're not making a lot of progress. It's very slow progress when you're doing the fab work on the chassis, but then all of a sudden, once that's done, we can start slapping parts into it and things start to pick up very, very quickly from there, which is, you know, it's just part of the process. I'm not a person that has a lot of patience, so this for me is very testing, but I'm really enjoying the process, and I think the end result is going to be something better than I've ever had in terms of my race cars before, so patience is a virtue.
It is. You know, the best feature about cutting out your tubs
What?
is you can easily see if something's wrong.
Yeah, that.
That's why you mainly do it.
Oh, I do it for access and so I can tweak my alignment.
Yeah.
So I have to lay on the ground and do my
You have a
alignment.
little bit of a nudge, you can get close to people.
Yeah, you just look down here and you can see
You
if
can
an
quickly
arm's
see
bent.
what's wrong, otherwise you gotta take a wheel off, get under there.
Yeah.
There goes your 5-minute rule.
That's right. Let's go ahead and we're gonna weld this up. You. Cha-ching, plates are welded on. Yes, yes, and yes. Woz is welding up our engine arms that we broke last time. Now you're probably thinking, why are you welding the engine arms and not just getting new ones? E36 stuff is getting hard to come by and things ain't cheap. We're gonna weld in reinforcements in those, which Woz is doing at the moment, to make them actually stronger than they were before. All right, ladies and gentlemen, skip forward and we are ready to paint the engine bay. So obviously we've masked everything up, we've wire wheeled it all down, and then we prep washed it using our prep wash, which is very important. And basically now it's ready to spray, which is freaking exciting because I wanted to get something awesome done for you guys in this video, and this is the something awesome. So we're not doing anything crazy here. I'm using cans to spray the color, cans to spray the sparkle, and then when the magic happens is we use a compressor and a spray gun to spray the clear, and that's what makes it look amazing. So the cans, I just enjoy it. It's easier, less setup with the paint, comes in the can. Again, the sparkle as well. Easier to get into the hard to reach places, and I just find it easier using a can for that stuff, and then we'll clear it with the gun. So Woz on the beers, doing a good job.
It's a perfect day for a spray and a beer.
Everyone always has a go at me in the comments because I spray with my thumb. Is that weird?
Actually, my old boss from Fabrications was a New Zealander.
Yeah.
Thumb.
Thumb. Easier, more control, you don't get the cramp in your index finger, more strength. A white engine bay. Hooray! So now we're laying down the sparkle, which is just this Duramax glitter effect stuff from Bunnings. It works really well. You pretty much just keep putting it on until you're happy with the amount of sparkle it has. The only problem right now is it's freaking bright out, and then this white is so bright that I can hardly see anything. You can probably see better through the camera. Through my human eyes, it's bloody hard to see, but it comes out really quickly, so you have to be mindful of how much you spray, because you don't want to put too much sparkle. Or do you? I don't know. Is there such a thing as too much sparkle? Who knows? Not sure if you guys can see that sparkle in the camera, but it looks gangster. And now the most important part of the whole process, spraying the clear. Such a good day to be painting a car. E36, let's go baby. Here we go. So we managed to get it done. We've lost a bit of light, so I don't know if you guys will be able to see super well, but she's nice and shiny, and the glitter definitely stands out as well in the sun, which is fantastic. Super happy with that, especially for a race car. It actually turned out pretty darn nice, so that's cool. That'll take overnight to dry. While that's drying, we can go ahead and do other stuff anyway. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to reinforce our front subframe, give it a lick of paint so that I can go ahead and slap that in, which is another really exciting moment, and that way we can kind of start to see things come together in the engine bay as well. I've got to paint the front brake booster, which looks like crap at the moment, and just make everything look super tidy so that we put it all together, you know, everything in the engine bay just looks schmick. One thing we need to decide on is what colour to paint our valve cover. We won't be doing it in this video because that's going to be a whole video in itself, refreshing the engine, getting ready to put it back in the car. But I do want to paint the valve cover. What do you guys reckon? So the turbo manifold will be matte black. So yeah, let me know what colour you think we should spray the valve cover. Hit me in the comments, let's go. Here is a reinforced and painted subframe. Sorry, I forgot to press record when I was painting. Apologies, guys. Now we can throw this into our car, which is nice. Then we've got our brake booster over here, which is the next thing I need to clean up. So as you can see, this thing is pretty rat shit, and that's because we had a couple of fires, I think, and so you can see fire extinguisher stuff all over this. So we're gonna clean it up, black it out. Little touches like this are gonna make the engine bay look so damn good. Sadly, we have come to the end of this episode, part 2 of our E36 Pro build, but we've made a fantastic amount of progress. Very, very happy with how things are coming along. One thing I want to show you guys before we finish out the video is this beautiful product right here, just a sneak peek. I'm not going to show you completely, but this is a product we're going to have available on Two Step Garage very soon. The intercooler bracket also holds an oil cooler, but I'm going to show you guys in the next episode the install of that. Very, very pumped. Working super hard behind the scenes to bring all this stuff together for you guys. We're also going to start fitting everything in the interior in the next video. Roll cage, everything. We've also got our Chase Bays hydraulic handbrake to install with all the custom lines. I've kind of test fitted something there because I kind of couldn't help myself, but it's all going to be super neat and tidy and come together really quickly. Today I was going to work more on the E36. As you can see though, it's covered in plastic, and that's because I actually spent the day working on the Datsun. I decided to respray the entire rear end of the car. I did it here in the factory, and frickin' hell, it come up so beautiful. I learned a lot from Mr. Z when he showed me how to paint cars in the booth. The reason I resprayed it was because I wasn't happy with the bodywork that I did previous to the paint job. So I sanded it all back, flattened everything out, and repainted it all, and it's just beautiful. So I'm happy that I put the hours in to get it done. Also ended up painting the nose cones as well for the headlights. So all in all, yeah, I've been working super hard. Final assembly video of the Datsun is coming very, very soon, but just non-stop. We've got 5 weeks now to complete this E36. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to chime in. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Just hit the like button anyway, because it helps so much with the channel. Subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. You. Oh, and we're installing the wide body in the next video. Yeah. See you then. Bye. Peace. How old are these cars? 1992. 31 years.